I am resident of Collinwood for YouTube. Joel Staines. That is Tom Diamond. That is Vickie Ray. We're here to talk the Time Tunnel, Episode 2. One-way trip to the moon. And
One way to the moon.
One way to the moon. And what a trip it is, actually. I like the claustrophobia in a lot of this because they're right beneath where the control room is.
That was so 60s, though. How they had the control room, just like that, right on top of everything, because they don't do that anymore. I mean, it's more linear, but I mean, just how they had it situated was so sci-fi for back then,
Like a semicircle kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you could, they were pretty good with bloopers. The one blooper they had in that episode where they're fighting in the spacesuits, and the back you can see the cylinders with the oxygen that they're using.
Yeah.
Well, as soon as they go down on the floor, all of a sudden the oxygen cylinders turned into flat boxes. And the reason they did that was because it would be very uncomfortable for the stuntmen to move with the oxygen cylinders on their backs. So they went ahead and changed it into flat boxes so they can get up a little easier. You could probably see that same kind of mover in the first episode. The jet that the senator was in was a Lear jet. You could see the word Lear as he landed. And then the next scene, there was no Lear. It was missing. So apparently they used two different jets. But you really have to look very, very closely to find those.
Was that the Aries ship, and they were talking about the Echo missions of the 60s? Is that what it was? The Man Smart? I think that's what they were talking about. Because that was all speculative fiction at that point. I mean, it was, what was it, like 12 years into the future, 13 years into the future?
10 years. 10 years. Mars excursion.
Kind of an overestimation of technological prowess on our part at that time. But hell, we'll take it, right?
What I want to know is, why do they carry guns on the spaceships?
No kidding. Well, you never know what you're going to run into. I mean,
I suppose so.
They glossed over a lot of implications of time travel, though. What would happen if you do this? What would happen if you don't? Do you change it? Do you not change it? I kind of liked how they did that. And I liked how they had the what was his name? The bad guy. What was his name? He was. He was there in present, and then he was there in future tense. Yeah. Him. I mean, that was kind of an interesting play on time, how he was there watching his future self be a total douchewad,
Right. Yeah, he did a good job with that. And the other actor that I recognized was the one who played the doctor on the ship. Warren Stevens is his name. And he was
the serious
on
one?
Star Trek. The serious
was
one,
that the
and he
serious
was
captain?
Rojan. No, not the serious captain. The doctor that was on the side.
Oh, yes, you're right. Yeah, he was in a lot. Yeah, he went on to have a really resourceful career after this. I mean, he was pretty busy.
He was in Star Trek. He was in, I think it's Return to Tomorrow.
Oh, it was Alan Hewitt that played Captain Gray.
Oh, okay. But on Star Trek, he was Rojan, and that was the one where they met this extra galactic group that wanted to get back to Alpha Andromeda or whatever, and he was and Rojan was the male guy. That was Warren Stevens. He had an interesting background after World War II. His friends were Gregory Peck and a couple of other actors, and they were able to get him into acting school in New York, where after a World War II stint, he started to get into that. And so he was on a lot of stuff, as you said, during the 50s and 60s. But I recognized him, and the one who played the captain of the ship I wasn't too familiar with. Did you have
I
anything
remember
on
he
that?
was on soap operas at a later time. He was like, his name was Alan Hewitt. He was a Broadway actor for a while. I looked him up.
Ah,
He was known for his gravitas, and it gives the episode a more serious tone than its campy futuristic stuff. But did you kind of think that you noticed more isolating the time travelers in this one? Because I mean, they are really screwed because
Yeah.
they can't get home. And they're stuck in this craft, and they're talking about jettisoning them into space because they're taking up the more weight. So I
yeah,
mean, you're
they're
starting
like,
to notice the isolation and the claustrophobia, like you said, of the whole situation is claustrophobic. It's such a helpless feeling. They're just helpless. There's not much they can do about their situation at all.
well, the
You know,
whole set reminded me of those 50s movies. I don't know, Man from Outer Space or whatever they called it, where they had the stock footage of the rocket ship
yeah.
landing on the moon, and you could see it was stock footage. But I think probably there were a lot of criticisms because there was too much stock footage, and people realized that it
There's
was
a ton. There is a
unlike
ton
the
of
first
stock footage.
episode.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, unlike the first episode, there was too much stock footage, and I think that was the main criticism people had for it. I also can tell you that there are episodes coming up that are definitely much better. I mean, the first one was the best. There are episodes coming up that were better, but why they put this one as number two, I'll
I know.
never. They should have put it last. I'll never. I'll never guess why they did that. But still, in all, you saw it for the first time, and
I didn't
what you
dislike it a lot. I found it a frustrating episode, I think. I
in
think I
what
think
way?
that I don't know. I think that how he wrote this, it kind of took too long to explain what needed to happen. It kind
Mm-hmm.
of dragged a
Mm-hmm.
little too much, maybe, but it was still a good
Mm-hmm.
episode.
Mm-hmm.
But I did notice a lot being that time of in the 60s. I felt a lot of Cold War kind of
Right,
overture.
and you'll
Plus,
see
I thought it was
more.
kind of like, well, you had the guy who was trying to steal the technology or to get to Mars quicker, kind of proliferates, kind of like a Red Scare kind of situation still, because people
Mm-hmm.
were still thinking about that back then. If you remember,
Mm-hmm.
because I still remember hiding under my desk in the 70s in case a bomb came. Like if a hydrogen
It
bomb
was in the
dropped on my
70s.
school, like that was going to save me back,
I
you
didn't
know,
know they still did that. I thought it was duck and cover,
duck and
from the
cover, get in the
60s.
hallways or under the. I remember those drills to
Under the
this day. That
desk.
was just so
Like,
surreal when you look at it retrospectively.
that's going to help you get under the desk, and then the A bomb hits, and
Yeah, you're not going to live.
there's no more. There's no more anything.
No.
But
But
that
there
was
was a
the
lot
best
of
they could.
overtones of that. The theft of technology. We all know how everybody was trying to get to space quicker than the other guy, and I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it just shows the sensitivity of the time because
Mm-hmm.
this was a different time, and it just shows that culturally, when you
Well,
watch these shows.
there's another episode coming up, which I don't want to get into. It directly deals with the
You
Cold
always
War.
say that.
This is more of an. That's right. I always say that, and you'll see when you see it.
You always say
But this one indirectly deals with the Cold War. There's a race
that. Right.
to space, and another power wants to get there first. They don't say it's Russia. I mean, everybody has American accents and stuff like that. But I think they did that in order to get rid of the censors. They didn't
You had the
want.
criticism. What about the censors?
They wanted to get rid of the censors saying, yes, there are too many references to communism and stuff like that. So with that
I didn't
particular
see that
point,
they were referencing communism, but I mean, you could
no, they
tell
weren't.
that's what it was going towards.
Well, you'll see in this episode.
Well, there was a
Not
lot of
yet.
bureaucracy and skepticism because just think they didn't
Right.
trust the time travelers. Here they were going to Mars, but they couldn't believe in time travel 10 years from now. You know, and they even had that quick little aside in the craft, you know, like, why wouldn't you believe it? Look where we're going,
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Well,
So you had
that's when the
bureaucracy stuff going on.
that's when the doctor came up and said, "Well, I went to medical school with someone
Yeah.
who went into a top secret project in Arizona, and from what he talked about, it sounded like that." Tony couldn't believe. Now, the interesting thing would have been, it's 10 years later. What's going on with the time tunnel complex in 1978? Are they still looking for him? What's going? You know, I mean, why can't
No,
they
that's
bring
a
him
good
into
question.
19?
That's a good question. But they were watching them from their time, though, technically.
Yeah.
So
Right,
was
they
the
were
time
watching them
tunnel
from
still
68.
operational? Yeah. Was it still operational? Was it a shutdown, you know, at that
Was it
point?
shut down in 78,
Well, I mean, who
or did
knows?
they?
Yeah.
Why couldn't they bring him back in to 1978, and
Yeah,
then
but that's
with
stuff you're not supposed to think about. You're not
oh,
supposed
of
to be
course,
hypercritical.
God forbid, you know. And then once they came back to 1978, transfer them to the tunnel in 1968 and have the
Well, their
two
journey is just a
communicate with each other.
metaphor for unintended consequences of scientific ambition. We have it today.
Oh, I like
You know?
that. I like that. That's cool. That sounds like a paper.
Yeah.
But
I used to
anyway,
bullshit the best of them back in the day.
yeah. Jill, what did you think of this episode?
A lot of you mentioned about the Cold War, but I see a lot of James Bond in this as well, because this is
Uh-huh.
very much a spy episode as well. You have
Yes.
the betrayal of the man from the past and the man from the future. Here's 10 years later, okay, 10 years earlier, and there's not just one betrayer, there's two. So,
Yeah.
so you're getting two heels in one
Which
episode.
set the other guy up and shot him. Don't
Yeah,
forget,
yeah,
there was no honor among thieves. So
yeah. And if you're gonna look like the baby face, kill the heel, kill who everybody
yeah.
else suspects is the heel, because hey, he
Yeah.
could have planted the bomb, he could have planted the device, though he's not on the rocket in the future. He still could be the guy. They
Right.
don't suspect the guy who's on the rocket. Again, they don't.
They
It
almost got him back actually at one point,
yeah,
where the guy in the suit took a plastic bomb and put it underneath the desk,
yeah,
as they had gotten a fix on both of them, and who knows what would have happened if they were able to transfer them. But then, as soon as they tried, the bomb went off, and that was the end. That was the end of that for a while. It took them hours to fix the thing. But that was, but that was, it wasn't a bad episode. But I think the stock footage, and I also think there was a little too much usage of that pull the hose away from the oxygen. You know, so Beard seemed to be a specialist at that. Pull the hose, pull the cord away, pull the hose away from from the oxygen mask, so he won't be able to so you won't be able to breathe. Uh, and I think he almost got that. Luckily, Doug came in time to save Tony's life when that happened. But as I said, it's there are more episodes with more things to talk about, but and also them taking off, and frankly, I don't know how they could have withstood the pressure in there, because they were on the floor, and the rocket ship is taking off, and you can see the pressure. It must have gone up to 3 or 4 G's, and you see them struggling with it, and then 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 it then it then it stopped. Uh, but do you see at this point, and it was in the first episode also, I don't know if you saw this, Jewel, but the idea of a potential relationship between Anne and Doug. Did you kind of see that in the first episode where Anne begged Doug not to go after Tony, but she didn't say too much to Tony. Did you see that? Did you catch that?
Yeah, a bit. And I think that's where a lot of like where Quantum Leap got its sort of love story from here a bit too. You always want to have at least one character to have a romantic interest for them to have a reason to get back. Or
that another thing that I thought of was them walking on the moon, and it's supposed to be a sixth of their weight, so they should be jumping up in the air rather than walking on the ground. And so that was, but once again, we hadn't hit the moon yet, and this was all fantasy, and they wanted to connect with the viewers, and especially the younger folks, and make things look good. So I think that was. So I think that was certainly a component that helped. But Jewel, in your opinion, did the episode really work? I think you'll have to see more episodes to figure that out in the span of things. But compared to the first episode, which you've already seen, did this episode work? Or what issues, if any, did it have?
I don't have too many issues with it because, again, you're dealing with time travel. And anytime you're dealing with time travel, not everything is going to be Quantum Leap where you're going in your own time frame. They're going either into the past or into the future. So when they go into the future here, now why don't you hear about why haven't they heard about the time tunnel or heard something like that? Again, one top secret government program isn't necessarily going to hear about the other, because again, the time tunnels. These people aren't spies. They're not government agents in a sense of that way. I don't mind this episode because again, you're getting into the future. Okay, what's the stakes? Okay, the stakes are there's a spy. Well, then you learn there's two spies. So I like the stakes. The idea of pulling the hose out is a bit of a poor substitute, but I get why they do it because again, you can't just take out your gun and fire a bunch of holes, especially inside a ship. So they come up with a creative way to kill people outside the ship, and I like the technique of laying on the floor when the thing is going up because they're going to jettison the thing. But Tony and the other guy, they're like, no, they're pounding on it. Hey, we're down here. We're down here. We're down here. And the suspense of are they going to realize this was really good. The suspense early on makes this episode really watchable of, okay, are they going to discover they're down there?
But did they remind you of the Power Rangers? They all had different colored suits on.
Yeah, but yeah.
This almost reminds me, it's a funny thing. It's a funny thing you mentioned. It reminded me of Commander Cody, of those 50s serials where he used to put the helmet on, and the oxygen tanks used to fly around in the air. But they did, and one of the things that we were talking about, Vickie, was the fact that in the moon it's 1/6 gravity of the Earth, so they should have been leaping into the air when they walked on the moon.
Book in like it was downtown or something. Yeah, I know. I was laughing about that.
Like they were in boot camp.
Those must have been nuclear fusion energy pods. They only needed 4 of them.
Must have been like boot camp.
I thought it was a fun episode. I don't know. It's kind of new to me, so I enjoyed it. I can't complain.
I think, Vickie, once you've seen some of the other episodes, because it's really not fair.
Oh, yeah, but there's always going to be like Dark Shadows had its low points. We all know which ones those were, but I mean, every show has it. They were still trying to figure this shit out.
Every show has its clunkers. Yeah.
Yeah, he was still trying to figure
This wasn't
stuff
the
out.
worst episode. This wasn't the worst episode, and I'm not going to go into the worst episode, but it certainly was the one that's coming up is more interesting, and they give you a preview of that where they land in the cave-in, but it's more than just the cave-in, and it's a cave-in. And what did Scott think of this episode, Vickie? Cave-in. What did I say? Cave-in?
I thought you said
cave-in.
My brain is just like on hyperdrive today, so
not as much as mine is.
Do you guys see any comparisons with Quantum Leap and stuff like that, though? Like he jumps into a body to try to rectify things. These guys are just, I mean, I guess Quantum Leap, he wasn't so haphazard like the time tunnel, because at least they could control his travel. But I've noticed I just see so many Quantum Leap nods to time tunnel sometimes, I mean, there's like, the little Easter egg thingies you think about. It's just kind of something I just kept noticing because I liked, Quantum Leap when it was on. It's been years since I saw it, but I saw a lot of nuances that kind of reminded me of, how.
Well, the 2002 reboot, which I hope we do after all this is over.
How many episodes did they have? Do you remember?
30. This
2002 did 30 episodes?
Oh, no. 2002 did the pilot.
Just
2002
I'll have to watch that for shits and giggles tonight.
Yeah, it wasn't picked up. But 2002.
Doctor Who, a lot of Doctor Who. This was just, I don't know why. It just reminds me a lot of Doctor Who in a lot of ways too, minus the, the red telephone booth. But I mean, it just, they all kind of, it seemed like science fiction was such a new, wonderful thing back then, I don't even think they can replicate the excitement from it. I mean, there's cool stuff now, like the new Lost in Space, for instance. I really liked it. And you know what I was reading about this, the Lost in Space. I don't know about the time tunnel yet, but the Lost in Space, they had to do that at a family prime time. So, what was the crazy doctor's name? What was his name? He was always getting in trouble. He was
Dr. Smith.
Yeah.
And wasn't Space.
But they made him do stupid stuff on that show just because they knew kids were watching it. Can you imagine if they gave it a regular primetime slot that wasn't family, what they could have done with Lost in Space? I mean, I didn't know that. I was wondering why it was so freaking crazy weird sometimes and so childlike. And it was because it was in a family time slot. I didn't know that. I guess
wasn't Lost in Space on Wednesday at 8:00? I thought Wednesday at 8:00 Lost in Space was on.
I can't remember. I don't remember. Yeah, but I was talking. But they did the new one, which I really enjoyed. But the old Lost in Space robot, it's so much more robotic. I mean, he looked like it's Terminator stuff going on with the new stuff, and it's not really a robot, kind of, but it's a bio.
You reminded me. The narrator who does that thing in the beginning. This is the two American scientists are lost in the ever-aging mills of time. He's the same guy who did the robot on Lost in Space. So he's the same guy who voiced over the robot on Lost in Space. Yeah.
I just noticed a lot of that. He used all of his own sets for all of his shows, though. I mean, you're right. He was cheap. Mm-hmm. But what I don't understand is, okay, like say Land of the Giants got canceled after 2 seasons too, because it was really costly to do. But these shows were money makers. Why didn't he just see it through? I mean, people watched it. I just don't understand why he stopped making it. Why they said he had, of course, he had to rein in the spending. But I mean, there could have been ways around it. I mean, God, it was a good thing. Why did he stop?
They were competing against CBS, who had the market at that point with the Beverly Hillbillies and
But they did have on the show, though, a lot of
Andy
NASA
Griffith
concerns, though.
and all those down, and the Waltons and all those down home to earth shows. And ABC simply couldn't compete with that. But they should have given Time Tunnel. Time Tunnel, stupid asshole. It was a stupid asshole who recommended they do Custer. Which
that
only
was I
lasted
did the research on that. That show sucked balls
last week.
Nobody wanted to watch General Custer.
It was unfortunate. It
only lasted 17
unfortunate.
episodes.
What did Scott think of the time?
Scott loves this stuff.
That's right. What did Scott think of this one? What did Scott think of this
one?
Did he watch it with you?
No, but I've got them all. You can watch them whenever he wants. But he's been busy doing his stuff.
I got you.
But if you look at this, though, it did have a lot. They did keep with like NASA guidelines. Like NASA was always concerned about multi-stage rockets, crew space flight protocols, weightlessness, life support, navigation, trajectories, all that stuff. So I mean, they did kind of zero in on try to keep towards the natural, the science, that was going on, because it was an exciting time. Look, you had I Dream of Jeannie, you had astronauts at Cocoa Beach. This was the big deal. It was the space time, the space race. So,
yeah. I sent something that is a great compliment to this to you, Tom. I sent you Jason X for free on on the Internet Archives. So, in case you want to watch Jason X, Tom, I sent it to you on Messenger.
Yeah, you need to watch it. It's good for you.
Yeah. Definitely.
Just
let
it wash over you.
I sent you Jason X it's on the Internet Archives. I sent it to you on Messenger, so you'll be able to watch it.
I love Jason X. I think it's freaking great.
It's
funny. Lots of good kills. Excellent kills.
It's hilarious.
Some people got really upset when they made it. Some of the canon Jason people.
I saw
lost their effing minds when the movie came out.
I saw it in theaters and I was cracking up. I was like,
we were all clapping and laughing. I mean, come on. Be a sport, People are so lame. So it's like, of course it's stupid. It's supposed to be stupid. That's what makes it so brilliant.
It's Jason in outer space. Did you expect it to be intelligent?
Yeah. I give them creds just for having the balls to put it onto celluloid.
Yes. You'll enjoy this, Tom. You'll enjoy it.
You will. I did. I like all that stuff, though. Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, you send it to me.
Yes, I did.
Send it to me. Yeah. Okay. That ought to be interesting. I had read a review actually of the first episode, where this guy Irving something or other, who's pretty outspoken, but he'll call a spade a spade, and if he likes something, he'll say it. And if he doesn't, he doesn't. And he was very on the first episode. He was very negative about the senator. The senator was just a bean counter there to pull the plug on the thing, and it was because of him. Yeah, but it was because of him that we got a season.
Plug on something that has 800 floors. I mean, that's just so random. It's like, how do you pull the plug on a 10-year project
800
that
floors,
has 1,000 floors? That's subterranean. You don't
is
pull
that
the plug
vertical
on that
or horizontal? Is that vertical? Is that 800 floors that are horizontal?
It looked like it was
vertical?
Going down, but it was a big place. Can you imagine? I mean, I bet you they got shit like that out there somewhere. They do. They do. Maybe not a time tunnel, but they got bunkers all over the place, full of bullshit we probably don't need to know about. That's what I'm saying.
So what would you think on a scale of 10, with 1 being a terrible episode? And now again, you two, this is the first, you've only seen the first 2 episodes. But from one is terrible.
Did we get to rate how sketchy their tubing was that kept their oxygen going into their lungs?
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. I remember I talked about the fact that the oxygen tanks, when someone pushed someone to the floor, the oxygen tanks disappeared, and in its place were flat boxes, and those flat boxes were used to help them get up. I think that was probably for the stuntmen, because I can't believe that the actors did their own stunts on there.
They did though. That's what I read. They did a lot of their own stuff.
You're kidding? Oh wow, wow!
They
I
did a lot
wasn't
of their
aware
own
of that.
stuff.
Wow, on this episode too, I know
I
that
don't know
Jimmy
about this
Down did
episode, but
that.
I read where a lot of them, he was too cheap to get stuntmen. Sometimes, I mean, for crying out loud, it's just like, I don't think the major actors did a lot of their own stuff, but he was cheap. I mean, he had to be, I guess, because they're always probably holding a thread over his head. They're going to cancel his show unless he reined in the huge expenditure.
All the money.
I mean, I was really surprised, I have to admit, at the special effects, because I mean, it really looks really good for the era. You know, when
it's
you're looking at
fantastic.
the compound and then the tunnel. I mean, they did a really good job on it. They really did.
And moving through time, I mean, that's the best.
Yeah.
That's the best one of all. I mean, it's a really
I like how they
psychedelic.
gently land. They gently land.
It's well, they just. I think they just pushed them on the ground or something like that, and then they did it in slow motion. In slow motion to see what the story. But I loved them going through the tunnel and them going through that psychedelic, kaleidoscopic. That was my favorite.
That was pretty psychedelic time.
That was my favorite in terms of that. I mean, that's so 60s. I mean, I don't see.
Very 60s.
It was very 60s. It
reminds me of Stargate a bit.
Stargate, kind of, yeah. I bet you Stargate I bet you that I'm telling you, a lot of these places, a lot of these shows, they took a
in a way.
You can
it's
tell.
like a wormhole. It's more like Deep Space Nine
in a
way.
It is like a wormhole. It is.
It's
I
like
how
Deep
they
Space.
get the radioactive bath, though, so they can track them. It's like, oh yeah, spray me with radioactivity, so you can find me somewhere.
I'm binging on Deep Space Nine right now, and
I was thinking of you when I saw a couple episodes on. Yeah.
Oh yeah, did you ever watch Deep Space Nine, Vickie?
I never finished it. I started it a long time ago, never finished it.
It's great.
He kept me busy doing so much other stuff. I never got a chance to finish watching it.
It's great, especially Quark, Armin Shimmerman, who played Quark, and
they had a special. They're going to do all of them. I guess something big's coming for Star Trek. I've not kept up on it. Something's happening.
I think the next movie, and Shatner had put in a bid to be in that movie.
Something's going. All the Trekkies are excited about something. So.
Yeah, they're all jumping up and down. And this summer, Strange New Worlds is coming back for a new season. Star Trek Strange New Worlds with 10 episodes, with 10 new episodes. And I even sent you the other day Star Trek Continues, which is excellent. The way they did that stuff. Two people, James Cawley did Star Trek 2, and Vic McDonough did the other one, and they're just, it's just so full. I wish Dark Shadows had that kind of fan attention, and they didn't, quite frankly, and because Star Trek was more of this hopeful future, and Time Tunnel touched slightly on that in this episode, that there was a hopeful future, but it was distracted because there was competition from another country in terms of getting to the moon and to Mars first. And I think that was something that detracted. But in terms of 1 to 10, what did you think? What did you think, Jewel? In terms of 1 to 10.
Well, for overall plot and the execution of said plot, because again, you got two heels, and I wasn't expecting two heels. They gave away the one pretty quickly, but the fact
They
that they
gave away
threw
what, Jewel?
they gave away the one pretty quickly, the first heel. But the
Right.
second heel was a nice surprise. So for overall plot, you got a bit of a spy plot going on here. I give this an 8 out of 10.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's the execution.
I didn't hate it at all.
Well, that's good, and I hope other people think that way. I'm looking at all the episodes, and by the time we've seen all the episodes, you'll see if that does stick with you. But I give it a 4 out of 10.
I definitely give it an 8.
Yeah,
it wasn't really a tight episode, but it was good.
No, it wasn't. Not like the first one.
It wasn't near as tight as the first one.
Yeah.
It was better script writing. Did he have different script writers like Dark Shadows did every so?
Bob and Wanda Duncan did a lot of them.
You can tell when somebody else writes the script. You can tell somebody else wrote it.
This husband and wife team, Bob and Wanda Duncan, and they did Lost in Space scripts as well, I believe.
That's right.
So, and for all
everybody worked on this. Didn't he have like the same team working on all these shows? He pretty much kept the stock people, so to speak.
Right, and it's the stock people. And they'll also develop a couple of characters. Jiggs, they'll have a couple of episodes. He's a security guy. They'll develop a character. They'll develop something about him. And also Sam Groom, who played Jerry. And I thought that was interesting. I thought that was Sam. What the heck is it? What the heck is the rest of the Western guy's name? Sam something or other. But it was Sam Groom who played Jerry, and they did a few episodes trying to get him involved. I think they wanted the younger. I think they wanted some of the younger for the fans aside from James Darren, but
they're emotionally and psychologically adrift in this one for real because
emotionally and psychologically adrift.
Think about it. They're stuck in the bottom of this thing, and somebody wants to just. I mean, I don't even think they could have saved them if they jettisoned them.
No, if they had jettisoned them, they either would have had to pull them out just before the thing was jettisoned, or that would have been it, or then they would have really been lost in space, if you'll excuse the pun. But I think that this was a
fun episode. It was fun to laugh at because you saw the lack of continuity in some places. And like I said, when they were fighting over the fuel barn or whatever that was, you know, how easy it was just to pull their air hoses off and stuff like that. I just got a kick out of it. I did. So.
I think that when you see future episodes, and the next one coming up, I think that's End of the World, is going to be a little more interesting, and I suggest that everybody tune in to watch. There's a lot more interesting stuff coming up in just one season, and I'm certainly sorry it couldn't have been more. Anybody else have anything to say?
No.
That's it. I thought it was a lot of fun. I thought it was enjoyable. So
I'm glad you did Vickie, because if you did, I think other people who have never seen it before, or who saw it many, many years ago and didn't really remember
through all the years,
what it was, I think they're going to like it too. I think that
when people set their mind to making something like that, it needs to be appreciated, whether they have one shitty episode or not. It's still like Dark Shadows, you still love it no matter what. You appreciate it. It kind of becomes endearing, when they do have a crap episode. So.
And they also did a lot of they were very painstaking. I see these first two episodes so far. They were very painstaking to avoid bloopers. And there's only one other blooper that I heard about so far in another episode that we'll talk about. What was that?
You're always looking for bloopers, though.
Absolutely, I'm always looking for. It's just something I enjoy.
Yeah, it's fun to find them.
Yeah, they're not very high. And of course, Dark Shadows had as many bloopers as you could skin a cat on. And it was God. I mean, I remember we used to do the blocks, and I'd see 40 bloopers in one block, which would be a couple of weeks or something, Vic. I'm trying to remember what we did. We do 20 episodes. Sometimes
we do
40.
blocks of them because there's like 1,000 or whatever, it's like 1,200 episodes. So we do like 5 or 6. We try to keep up congealed with the storyline, and then we try to end it that way, and then we start on the next one, like the dream thing.
Right. Right, with the dream curse, which we already talked about, and stuff like that. So next Sunday at 8, you guys good?
Yeah. Unless I have any more trauma or psychological episodes.
Well, I hope Sophie does.
Fingers crossed for a more quiet week.
Also,
how about you, Jewel?
Well, also too, I'm good for Sunday. But when you're watching, I remember watching one of my favorite anime series was Ghost in the Shell, and I remember when watching it when they sort of after the end of the second season, when Sci-Fi Channel made the movie Solid State Society for Ghost in the Shell. And basically what Solid State Society is a retelling of the original Ghost in the Shell movie. And I thought, okay, this isn't a bad movie, but retelling the original story in a slightly different way, I didn't necessarily love. Right. They told it, but they told it in a slightly different way to where it was sort of their own. And it's like, okay, I appreciate most of the plot of the movie until they went there. Until they went with the puppet. Basically, the puppet master again. And I said, you don't really need to keep going back to that. And that's their master. Yeah. That was the villain, in a sense, the villain in the original Ghost in the Shell.
Right.
Movie. But where in the series they had a man called they had somebody called the Laughing Man, and in the second season they were dealing with more of a terrorist in the second season. But yeah, they made a mistake in as much as I like Solid State Society for its whole, I don't love how they were basically retelling the first movie. So
there's always something that's gonna, nothing's ever gonna be up to your perfected state.
Exactly.
So I mean, but it's endearing to find. I mean, I find it endearing sometimes.
Yeah.
But I think it's a great series, and whether they had bloopers or not, whether they had inconsistencies in plots or not, you still enjoyed the attention to detail that they put into the episodes, even though Irwin Allen, after the first one, really left the production to other people, and I think that's a shame because I think he should have taken more of a hand in it, and who knows what would have happened. But anyway, are we all right for next Sunday at 8?
For Sunday, yep. I'll see you guys at 8.
Sunday at 8.
Okay, Tom, happy podcasting, Jewel.
Enjoy Jason X.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear I want to hear your full opinion and critique
of what, the next episode?
Of Jason X. We want to hear.
Oh, Jason versus
Jason X.
Jason versus Freddy.
Well, Jason
X. No, the Jason X in outer space. Wonderful kills, Tom. You're gonna like the kills.
Yes. Forget about the plot. Don't worry about the plot.
Don't forget about the plot. Just enjoy the
hell
violence.
With the plot.
Don't worry about the plot.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh God. But we're just killing each other, and that's what I'm supposed to do.
Just mindless violence.
Yeah. This is what people want. That's Jason versus Freddy. Is that what you're talking about?
Jason X.
Jason X. That's what I sent you. I sent you Jason X.
Jason. Oh, the one you sent me.
Just let it wash over you, Tom.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'll have to carry me out. That's all I need. It's all your fault, Vickie. All right. But anyway,
link to the Literary License podcast is going to be in the description box. Go check them out. You can find Tom Hotz and Vickie Ray on Facebook. Go hit them up. They're very knowledgeable people, very nice. Thank you both for coming on. This has been a lot of fun.
Okay, honey. Well, see you
My
next
pleasure.
weekend. Bye,
See
guys.
you next weekend.
Ciao.
Talk to you soon.